Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the action-packed world of Old Man Hawkeye. Get ready for intense battles, shocking twists, and everything you love about this gritty Marvel universe. But before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button if you love epic superhero action. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest videos. All right. Let's jump straight into the chaos. Old Man Hawkeye, Volume 2. Previously on Old Man Hawkeye. 45 years ago, the world fell to darkness. The Red Skull rallied every villain worth a name, united them under his iron grip, and together, they slaughtered the world's heroes in a single, merciless strike. The Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. Legends wiped out in a day. What remained was a shattered United States carved into territories, each ruled by tyrants and killers. From the ashes of that massacre rose a new world of silence, fear, and survival. And in this wasteland lives Clint Barton, once Hawkeye, now nothing more than Old Man Hawkeye. Half-blind, haunted, and weary, he carries his bow like a relic of a forgotten age. To the people, he's no longer the Avenger who fought gods, but just an old archer on borrowed time. Yet even in decline, Clint has set himself on one last mission, a final reckoning before death takes him. His return to violence began with blood. While working a protection job for Jebediah Hammer, Clint cut down most of the Mad Rock's gang, duplicate killers with a shared mind, never realizing one survived. That survivor, bonded to the ravenous Venom symbiote, slithered away to plan its revenge. And elsewhere, in the dust and shadows, another predator stirred. The marshal of these lands, Bullseye, the assassin who once made a sport of killing heroes, his body a patchwork of scars and machinery, now stalks the trail of the old archer. His single robotic eye, glowing red like a predator's, scans for weakness. He is patient, he is hungry, and above all, he is amused. Clint Barton has stepped back into the fight, meaning Bullseye, finally, has a new hunt. At the Hammer homestead, Jebediah Hammer returns from the mission with Clint, his face pale, his hands trembling. He rushes into his chamber, grabbing clothes and stuffing them into a worn leather bag. His wife, Susanna, appears in the doorway, her voice soft and unaware of the storm looming over them. "Darling, lunch is ready." Jebediah freezes, sweat dripping from his brow. He turns, his voice sharp, edged with panic. "Forget about the damn lunch. Pack your things, now. We're leaving." Susanna stares at him, alarm growing in her eyes. "What happened, Jebediah? Why do we have to leave?" He grips her shoulders, shaking slightly, his tone low and urgent. "Don't ask. Just do it. Quickly." The couple moves through the homestead, fear rising like smoke. Then, a scream tears through the hall from the direction of the dining room. Jebediah and Susanna freeze, their blood turning cold. They move together, hesitating, each step heavier than the last, until they reach the doorway. What they find makes Susanna gasp and stumble back. The dining hall is a slaughterhouse. Jebediah's men lie sprawled across the floor, blood pooling beneath their bodies, lifeless eyes staring upward. And at the head of the table sits Bullseye, calm as if he owned the place, his knife twirling lazily in one hand. His left eye, mechanical glowing red, fixes on them with predatory precision. A faint smirk curls his lips as he speaks in a voice almost polite, yet venomous. "Welcome. Are you ready to talk now?" Susanna collapses to the ground, pressing her back against the wall, arms wrapped around her knees as tears spill down her cheeks. Bullseye leans back casually, surveying the carnage around him as if admiring art. "Forgive me," he says with mock sincerity. "I had to kill your men." I don't like sitting down with armed company. Jebediah's voice trembles. Who are you? With a flick of his knife, Bullseye taps the badge pinned to his coat. See this? Means I'm the one asking questions here. He kicks the chair beside him out with his boot. The wooden legs scrape against the floor like nails on stone. Sit. Let's begin. Shaking, Jebediah lowers himself into the chair. Bullseye pulls a plate toward him, spearing a piece of food and chewing slowly, savoring the taste. His red eye scans, analyzing every twitch of Jebediah's muscles, every bead of sweat. Let's start simple, Bullseye says, his tone conversational. Who killed the Mad Rocks gang? Jebediah swallows hard. It was Ronin. Ronin did it. Instantly, Bullseye's cybernetic eye processes the data. Files of Ronin, a vigilante long vanished, flash across his vision. Simultaneously, behavioral analysis confirms it. Jebediah is lying. Bullseye smirks. He chews another bite, then glances toward Susanna, who is still curled up in the corner. This food is excellent, he says mockingly. Tell me, Mrs. Hammer, what's your recipe? Jebediah, desperate, sees Bullseye distracted. Slowly, his hand drifts down toward his boot, fingers curling around the cold steel of a hidden pistol. He pulls it free, heart pounding, and raises it with shaking hands. But Bullseye is faster. A flash of silver cuts the air. One of his playing cards slices clean across Jebediah's throat. Jebediah chokes, blood spraying as he collapses forward onto the table, his pistol clattering uselessly to the floor. Gurgling, gasping for air, he claws at the wood as life slips away. Bullseye rises, leaning close, voice cold and precise. You've got a few seconds left, Hammer. Tell me the truth, or your wife dies screaming. Jebediah's fingers tremble. His voice is gone, drowned in blood. With his final strength, he dips his hand into the crimson, flooding his chest, and scrawls 2 words onto the table. Hammer falls. Then his hand drops. Bullseye studies the bloody words, then lets out a low, satisfied laugh. Well, that's all I needed. He steps away from the table, dabbing at his lips with a napkin as though finishing dinner. He glances at Susanna, his smile cutting like a blade. Thank you for the meal, Mrs. Hammer. And with that, he walks out into the wasteland, leaving Susanna sobbing over her husband's corpse. The desert stretched out like an endless graveyard, sand whipping across the horizon in dry, suffocating gusts. A lone figure trudged forward, cloaked and hooded, his face hidden in shadow. Clint Barton, once Hawkeye, now a ghost of his former self, moved with the quiet precision of a man who had walked into 1,000 ambushes and survived just enough to know another one was always waiting. His boots crunched over cracked earth until, at last, a neon glow shimmered in the distance. The eye candy, a den of thieves, killers, and the damned. Clint pushed open the doors and stepped into the underworld's heartbeat. The stench of sweat, smoke, and spilled liquor hit him instantly. Music pounded from broken speakers, gangsters and mercenaries laughed over blood money at their tables, and half-drunk dancers swayed listlessly on stage. Clint's eyes scanned the room, hidden beneath his hood. He wasn't here for drink or distraction. He was hunting. From the corner of his vision, he spotted her. Elektra. The assassin moved like a shadow cutting through the crowd, slipping past bodyguards and entering the velvet-draped VIP lounge. Clint's gaze followed her to the one she had come for, the owner of this den of filth, the Orb. His face was nothing but a massive, pulsating eye, glistening like a wet marble. The mutant could see everything, everywhere, and everyone. Few secrets escaped him in this wasteland. Inside the VIP room, Elektra poured a drink for Orb, chatting idly with another woman at his side. But the moment Orb's eye swept across the main floor, it froze. The eye widened. It had spotted Clint Barton. Recognition flared instantly. "Throw him out!" Orb hissed, his voice trembling with sudden panic. At the bar, Clint lowered himself onto a stool, ordering a drink with calm defiance. Within moments, shadows fell over him. Guards surrounded him, guns bulging at their belts. One leaned in, his hand pressing down on Clint's shoulder. "We don't want trouble here." Clint's lips curled into a bitter half-smile. In a single sharp motion, he shoved the man's hand away and drove his fist into the guard's throat. The man collapsed, choking. "Trouble?" Clint muttered, rising to his feet. "I'm here to solve your troubles." The room erupted. Another guard lunged, but Clint smashed a bottle across his face, glass and blood spraying as the man crumpled. Guns were drawn instantly. Muzzles flashed. Bullets screamed through the smoky air. Clint grabbed one of the guards by the collar and yanked him into the line of fire. The body jerked violently as rounds tore through him, buying Clint precious seconds. He dove behind the bar as bottles exploded above him, showering him in broken glass and liquor. Pinned down, Clint yanked his bow from beneath his cloak, hands steady despite the chaos. He knocked an arrow and waited, breath slow. Bullets chewed into the bar's wooden frame until clicks. Magazines ran dry. Clint rose like a phantom. Twang. One arrow pierced a guard through the chest. Twang. Another dropped before he could reload. A third arrow flew but missed, splintering the wall. The remaining guards scrambled, fresh magazines snapping into place. Lead stormed across the room again, forcing Clint back into cover. "Damn it, Clint, focus," Clint muttered. He gritted his teeth, breathing deeply. Then, timing his move, he rose again. 2 arrows, 2 swift shots. The last of Orb's guards fell. Silence returned, broken only by the hiss of neon lights and the whimper of terrified patrons who scattered into corners. In the VIP lounge, panic reigned. Orb crouched behind the sofa, trembling, his enormous eye darting wildly. Elektra crouched beside him, unfazed, her daggers ready. "Go look," Orb hissed. Elektra sneered. "You're a giant eyeball. You look." Their argument was cut short as a dying guard stumbled behind the sofa, collapsing in a heap. Orb peeked cautiously over the cushions, and there, framed in the doorway, was Clint Barton. His bow raised, an arrow drawn and aimed directly at Orb's grotesque eye. Clint smirked coldly. "You didn't see this coming, Big Eye?" Orb froze. Then, forcing a laugh, he stammered. "Clint, my old friend, it's been a long time. Come, have a drink." Clint and Orb sat at the blood-stained table. Clint poured himself a glass, swallowing it in silence. "I'm not here for you," he said flatly. "I want the ones who killed my friends." Orb twitched, his voice quivering. "Clint, you don't understand. They use powers I can't track. Even I can't see them." Clint's jaw clenched. He raised his bow again, arrow poised, eyes narrowed. "Then you're useless, and there's no reason for you to stay alive." Orb collapsed to his knees, pleading. Wait! I know where one of them is. Atlas! He betrayed the Avengers to Red Skull. He helped kill them. He's in Arcade's murder world, Nevada. He's just another sideshow attraction now, fighting Sentinels for scraps. Please, Clint, that's all I know." Clint lowered the bow slowly, the fire of vengeance burning behind his tired eyes. He turned and headed for the exit, tossing a few coins over his shoulder. "Thanks for the drink." Far away, the desert winds carried a different storm. In Hammer Falls, the marshal arrived. Bullseye stepped from the shadows into the dusty settlement, his metallic eye glowing as it scanned every face. There, waiting on her porch, was Ashley Barton, Clint's estranged daughter. Arms crossed, defiant smirk plastered on her face, she greeted him with venomous sarcasm. Tax collectors always come this time of year, huh? Bullseye's lips curled. You're funny, little girl. I'm looking for your father. Ashley's smile didn't falter. This isn't his house? Haven't seen him in years? Bullseye's eye whirred, analyzing her heartbeat, her nervous twitches. Lie detected. He drew a gleaming sigh, pressing it inches from her cheek. His voice dripped with malice. Little girl, you wouldn't be lying to me, would you? Ashley glared back. I hate that man. I've got no reason to lie. Before Bullseye could press further, his cybernetic eye flashed new data. A report of chaos nearby, gunfire and bodies piling at the eye candy. His quarry had been found. Bullseye spun the say-I once, sliding it back into its sheath. He grinned at Ashley. Pleasure meeting you, little girl. And with that, he strode away, the hunt sharpening with every step. That night, the desert was lit by a neon hellscape. Clint Barton stood before the twisted carnival of Arcade's murder world in Nevada. Rusted rides, broken attractions, and the metallic silhouettes of sentinels loomed against the horizon. Murder World was a graveyard of games, each designed for death. Clint tightened the grip on his bow. One of his old betrayers was here. Tonight, another ghost would fall. Back at Hammer Homestead, grief festered. Susanna Hammer dug graves under the cold moonlight, dirt caking her trembling hands as she laid her husband and his men into the earth. Her whispered prayers hung in the night air, and then a deep guttural and hungry voice rises. Their brains are still warm. I can feel them. Can I have a bite? Susanna spun, horror freezing her veins. From the shadows, the Venom symbiote slithered forward, its monstrous form dripping with malice, teeth gnashing. Behind it, other symbiotes writhed, hissing and shifting like living nightmares. Venom's maw opened wide, its tongue curling as it loomed over her. Tell me, woman, where can I find the man with the bow and arrow? To be continued. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you loved this dive into this epic story, smash that like button and subscribe for more superhero action reviews and breakdowns. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you're the first to catch our next video. Until next time, stay awesome and keep the adventure alive.